Hey everybody, welcome to The Well. This is the show where we do what you do, and we're going to take you on that journey to see how we've developed our financial advisory practice as digital marketers turned financial advisors.
All right, welcome back. This is episode 9 of The Well.
Yeah, and this is our first installment of the seminar operations series. See what we did there? Maybe we'll put the logo across the screen. Yeah, something. We're going on a field trip today. Normally you've seen us sitting in the chairs, talking on the mics and doing that thing, but I thought it'd be fun to take you on a little field trip. So why don't you join us as we walk across to FDR?
Yep, we have never done a seminar here before, but we eat there probably twice a week because it's across the street. So we'll take you across the street, show you what the room looked like.
Let's go. All right, well, welcome to 4-Day Ray. This wonderful establishment is right across the street from our office. Richy and I come here more often than we should.
We sit there at least twice a week.
Yeah, at least twice a week, sometimes 3. They have amazing burgers and wings and pizza.
Oh, those fries.
Oh, the best
Sweet potato fries are
fries
point.
I've ever had. Been really pleased with this place, and we realized one time, like 2 or 3 months ago, we got sat upstairs in this event space, and we're like, hey,
I wonder if we could do an event here.
It's a brewery, so it's a little different than what we're used to, but...
Yeah, we've never done an alcohol event. We've actually never served alcohol. We had the Brenda back in episode 1.
Yep.
So we don't want any more Brendas, but we thought, man, at a brewery, we could do like 1 drink per customer, something like that.
Yeah. So
do it.
Yeah, we checked it out, talked to the events manager, got it locked in, and did our first event here just a couple weeks ago now. And
let's go check out the room. We'll take you up there. Fortunately, it's upstairs. There was a elevator, which was nice. So we didn't have to deal with the, what was the prop? I can't think of the name of the place.
Stone Creek.
All right, so we're upstairs now. This is not how it looked. We had a table here, though.
Yep.
Actually, let's take them into the room a little bit.
Yeah.
Because this is sort of like, obviously, the bar area. For this, we rented upstairs, but really our primary room was over here.
Yep. So this is a space we were in, and it's not, one of the things that we've told you guys throughout, like when you're doing a seminar, is make sure you get there early and you set up the room the way you want it to be. Because when we got here on, this was 2 weeks ago Thursday.
2 weeks ago Thursday, yep.
We got here, it was set up much like this, which is, not bad if you're hosting an event where you're watching a game or you're doing like a fantasy football draft or something like that. But for us, for our purposes, it wasn't ideal, and I'll show you why. As you get into this room, one of the really nice things about FDR is they have built-in AV for us, and everything was wireless, and their screen setup is right here. And I'm not going to take it all the way down because I don't want to mess with it, but you can see this is where the screen is. So while that's a really good thing, we don't really want people sitting like Richy is right now, not facing the screen, because we're going to be presenting up here at the front of the room. So
this is typical. You guys know, you walk into it, and really the first thing that we do, we bring all of our junk up here that we need, and then the first thing we do is set it aside and we look at it and say, okay, projector screen has to be up there because it's static. So what's the right layout? That's the first thing we do, and that's what you guys should do when you walk into the room.
Yeah, and it's important to have a good relationship with the servers too, because Josh, who was our server that day, was immediately willing to help us do whatever we needed to do. And so what we ended up doing actually was take these 2 long tables here, and there's a third one that we had that we pulled out from the other restaurant area, and we made two long rows of tables. And actually I have some footage from that day that I'll try to get over to Ethan while he's producing this video, and he can show what that actually looked like in that moment and some pictures. But at any rate, we had 2 rows of tables right here. And that put everybody, so nobody's back was to the screen except for Richy and I, because we were up here in the front presenting, and we had our table with our computer on it and our clickers and all that good stuff.
Right in the middle.
And we were right here.
Yeah, this particular venue too was not an order per plate. It was like a buffet style.
Yep.
So the buffet we had at lunch on this wall, which for lunch worked okay. The issue was, and this was a problem, you'll probably see it in that picture. We had these tables kind of like this going in this row. We now couldn't put chairs here because the bar was here. So this whole side of the row had no chairs in it. So we only had people sitting on that side of this row. for lunch.
Right.
Which, because there was less people, it worked out. But it was also pretty weird because you had like couples sitting here facing this way, and again, the screen's up there. So not ideal for dinner. We actually had to move the bar out there so we could have people on both sides of the table. So you set it up as best as you can, and then just make corrections, little adjustments moving forward to get it exactly the way you want it.
Yeah. And pay attention to little things too. Like if I'm standing right here where I gave the presentation,
yeah.
I don't know if it's going to show up in the video or not, but there's these little spotlights up above us, and this one is particularly bad right now. They must have moved it back after we left. But it was just really hitting me right in the face. I couldn't see very well. I was getting all the little spots.
And I had no light.
Right.
On this side, there was nothing pointed at me. So get on a chair, we point it. We actually were going to film this one, so we did that in the back, and we were looking at it back and forth. Again, little adjustments. But if he's all lit up and I'm in the dark, well, now I'm in the light, it made no sense.
Right.
So point little things, point the lights, make it look good.
Yeah. And obviously it's going to be different for people that are not having two presenters. But if you have two presenters, you got to make sure it's set up for both.
Yeah.
But if you're just one, make sure it's set up really well for you, and that you can easily make eye contact too. I think that's the other factor when you're setting up your tables. Obviously, you want them to see the screen wherever that is. But the more important part, maybe not more important, but just as important, is that you can make eye contact with these individuals throughout your presentation and engage with them while you're speaking. So,
which, if there was one negative for me in this room, it was that these lights are so bright that even like looking at the camera guy right now, I really can't see you. And so we do name tags, and a lot of times during the presentation, it's like, you know what I'm talking about, John. I see you, and you're like interacting. I couldn't read John though.
Right.
At this one, it was a little bit tough. So you got to make some adjustments, but otherwise, I like the venue. The brewery area is kind of like right off back behind us here, which was just a nice backdrop. Yeah. So it just was a cool looking venue. So now that we walked into the room and we had our layout, we had our, all of our electronics hooked up, everything was working and tested. Then the girls, while we were doing that, the girls were setting up the check-in table.
Yeah. Let's look at that real quick, and then we'll sit down and kind of talk through some of the things that we learned from this particular spot.
So to start with, these doors were open all the way to be really inviting. And they set up a table that was right here. It was like a high top table. And that way they can stand here, have good energy as people are walking down this catwalk here. Hey, are you here for the Plain Wines event? Great. Here, check in here, write the name tag, and then they can kind of seat them in there. So really position your check-in table. I mean, it's obvious, but you want to be intentional. You don't want it way down there. You don't want it over in this corner. You want it right here so that they are here, you invite them, and then they can easily just go right into the room. So they set that up, and I thought that was fantastic.
Well, there's two benefits to that, right? There's the kind of gatekeeper aspect where they can't get into the room without checking in, because some of these people will try to just sneak in, not give you their information, not sign in, things like that. But it also kind of prevents people from getting out.
The exit's the most important.
Right, yeah, you're protecting, you're kind of gatekeeping on both sides of that. You want to keep them in the room, but you also want to make sure when they come, hey, is this person on the roster? Is this person that's somebody that we're expecting to be here? So it's important to have that be kind of at the entrance of the room, both from a beginning and end standpoint.
Which is exactly why we shut that, to create a funnel. You can't just sneak by. You have to go through this little area when you leave for the same reason.
We also had a table in the back corner over here, and that's where Paul set up. And that was kind of the appointment and like tech side, because when Paul's here and both Crystal and Hannah are here, Paul's kind of more managing the tech side, checking people in digitally and making sure that we've got all their information, checking where did they come from. He's kind of a stats guy, so he's checking all that stuff. And then when the appointments are being set, and we're handling all that paperwork afterwards, we don't necessarily want that to happen at the check-in station if we can avoid it. And so that kind of became the workstation for the girls and Paul. So that was a great spot there. And for the dinner, we had the food basically where Ethan is standing right now. We had the buffet set up right there, and kind of in an L shape around this area, which actually helped out quite a bit.
It was so much better.
Yeah, when we come back here in the future, that's how we're going to set it up, because it just makes that room, first and foremost, the presentation space.
Right.
And the server's not coming in and out, bringing in food and doing all that stuff. Like, they have to come out here and interact, and it kind of gives a nice break and a separation from that.
I personally typically prefer a plated meal.
Yeah.
Typically, like, I'd rather you be able to individually order. This particular restaurant, a little bit smaller kitchen, so they couldn't take 30 orders at once and produce it. So we did the bar kind of buffet, and I thought it went good. I didn't notice any.
Yeah, it went as well as could be expected. I mean, it's not, the food is not exactly as good as if you get a plated meal.
Right.
It's kind of mass quantities and things like that, but I think it was well received.
It was well received. We had a nice
complaints.
chicken, a nice beef.
Yep.
Had a nice salad. I don't remember what else. There was a dessert at dinner, so I thought it went good.
Yeah.
So you want to go over some results?
Let's go talk about how it actually went. Now that you've seen the space, welcome to FDR. We're going to eat lunch here later, so they got great food.
Now that we got the room set up, let's talk about the magic.
Yeah, the magic. So we did the same format that we've done with most of our other seminars, where we do a lunch and a dinner on the same day. So this is, from like an RA marketing standpoint, this is a large package. We're trying to fill 2 events. But Richy already kind of mentioned this. This is their first time doing it at a brewery. First time we're actually actively, I wouldn't say encouraging people to get a drink, but we were allowing it and we were paying for it. Because we're at a brewery, kind of felt obligated to do that.
It felt natural.
It did. It wasn't like, this is a party or anything like that. But hey, if you're going to you have people come to a brewery, I feel like if you tell them they can't have a drink.
Yeah. And this venue is, I would say, upscale, meaning like it's not your average place you would eat.
Right.
It's not like an elite place, but we just kind of felt like having alcohol we're not serving steak dinners.
Right.
So you're going to get a nice like chicken, whatever. Mm-hmm. Let's also give them a drink.
Yeah. And this brewery is not one of those that's only serving their beers. They have a pretty wide selection.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, and they've got a lot of wine selections. They've got, all, of course, the mixed drink selections that are available. And overall, I think that part of it didn't go poorly, but when we do it again, we're gonna change up how we offer that part of it, because ultimately what happened is we gave drink tickets. Yep. And we didn't put any limitations on the drink tickets.
Yeah, each person got 1 ticket as they checked into the registration table.
Yep.
That they could exchange for 1 drink.
Right. And kind of naively, we assumed, hey, we're at a brewery. Maybe some of these folks will get a glass of wine. Maybe these people will get a beer or whatever. And some people did.
Yeah.
But some people took advantage too. And one of the things that this place has is some pretty high-end, top-shelf mixed drinks. And people took advantage of that.
People ordered them.
Yes, they did.
And we let it happen. We didn't even. I honestly did not even cross my mind.
Nope. We'll
do drinks. Cool. I was just thinking beer, wine, whatever. But so I'm interested to hear what you think, because we purposely didn't talk about this because we knew we were going to do this episode.
Right.
So I'll say what I think and then tell me if you differ.
Okay.
After going through it, and again, limited experience. It was 1 campaign. So I'm not acting like we've done it a million times, but off that experience, I don't think I would pay for alcohol again, because I just don't think it was necessary. I don't think somebody scheduled an appointment with us because we allowed them to get a beer.
Yep.
So for me, even being here, because the food is good enough here that if you don't have a drink, for me, you're not upset. Right. And also, we let them go, it's cash bar. In our typical seminars, like you could go get a drink, we're just not serving it to you, we're not paying for it.
Right.
So for me, yeah, my gut after stewing on it for a couple weeks is I don't think it was worth the extra $1,000 or whatever we paid for drinks.
Yeah.
I don't think it moved the needle.
So here's where I'm at with it. I agree with you 100%. I don't think it's necessary. I think it's a nice touch. So if we do cover drinks ever in the future, my stipulation would be that we select a limited option of what's available that we will cover. If they want something outside of that, it is cash bar. But maybe we say this brewery is known for these 3 whatever. I don't really drink beer, so I don't really know. But hey, if there's known for these 3 things and maybe a red and a white, house red and white, and we limit our exposure there in terms of cost, because while I don't think it moved the needle, I think it was a nice touch. But it was very expensive. We ended up, I think the exact amount on just the alcohol alone was a little over $800. And what did we serve? 30 people?
Yeah.
Booze? I mean, it was...
Yeah. And I'll take you guys even a little deeper. This was a Thursday night. We typically do Tuesdays. We prefer Tuesdays because we have the week to work. But in this case, Labor Day was Monday.
Right.
So we didn't want to do a Tuesday event, so we pushed it to Thursday. But we didn't, hindsight's 2020. Lunch, fantastic showing.
Great showing.
Great showing. Percentages were amazing. Dinner was about half what we were expecting because it was the first NFL Thursday night football.
Yep. And we knew that. We knew
it. I just didn't really think that it would impact it that much until literally we're at the end of our presentation. As you guys know, you've watched the series. We do a 5-minute video and people can turn in their blue sheets especially, but go to the bathroom, get a drink, whatever. Well, during that break, we had two couples come up to us and say, hey, just wondering on time, because this is great and I love it. I'm going to meet with you guys, but the game's starting, so I might want to try to sneak home for that game. And then it hit us like, oh crap.
It was in that moment we knew.
It was in that moment we knew. Yep. We probably lost, I would say, 5 households.
At least. Yeah.
From Thursday night football, just a little thing, but that happened. So we had a good showing still on the day, but lunch was so strong. Dinner was about half.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, we've talked about it before. When we have a room of 15 people, 15 to 25 people, we do really, really well, especially at lunch. At dinner, we tend to do better when there's 20 to 25 people. And I don't know why. It's just an energy thing. There's something different about different crowds, different vibes, whatever. Dinner was about 15 people. So ordinarily we convert pretty well in that. But at lunch, we ended up getting 8 appointments. Because the 15 people that were there at lunch represented, I think, 14 buying units. So we converted extremely well at lunch. High quality, really good numbers there. At dinner, we had the same number of people there, not quite as many buying units. I think
we had 10 units at lunch, 13 people, and we had 10 units at dinner, 14 people.
Okay, so we 80% at lunch on the appointments, and at dinner we only got 3
appointments.
Yeah,
we got 4 at dinner.
4 at dinner. Okay, so yeah, I mean that's just that alone. I think the energy in the room was a little bit off. I don't know if that was Richy and I. Could have been. We were expecting 25 people there, and we only have 14 in front of us. That obviously impacts our mood and our energy.
But we didn't tell them that.
That's right.
This is the perfect group.
This is the perfect group. This is ideal. It's exactly what we want. But we didn't get as many appointments.
Well, actually, we did, though. We ended up getting 10 appointments on the day, and then through Crystal's callbacks and stuff, got 2 more. So 12 appointments. We closed, well, not closed, but we got appointments with 55% of the audience.
Yeah. One of our better, probably our best appointment ratio since
probably
ever. I don't know if it's ever.
Richy
told you he's a spreadsheet guy. He's got the whole thing in front of him.
Yeah, this is our best percentage.
Yeah.
And that's something, just keeping it real, that's something we can improve.
Yeah.
I think we can improve that. We're always looking at the numbers for averages here. What do we do to improve it? If you get 1, 2 more appointments the next round, that number starts creeping up. Yeah. I never want to I hear advisors saying they get like 80% of the room to schedule.
Right.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
You don't want 80% of any room to schedule with you. So for me, I would like to be at 60%. Right. I think that would be a good number where you're getting the people that are serious without guilting others in that really aren't serious or whatever it is. So we're creeping up on that number. So 55 was good to see.
Well, and the reason for that, your comment there is if you go back and listen to episode 2 where we talk about our first ever actual seminar, our process was not dialed in, but we got that before FDR, that was our best appointment ratio.
It was. They had 19 appointments that.
Yep.
And we had a ton of people show up, but we had 19 appointments that round.
Yep. And we had no process, and we were taking everybody. We've tightened that up quite a bit, so intentionally our appointment ratio has gone down. But now that we're kind of tightening the process, that we're appealing to a slightly broader audience of a more affluent customer, where before we were appealing to just about everybody. Then we narrowed it down to just these high net worth people, and we were trying to exclude a bunch of people. Now we've kind of made it a little bit more open, so we're taking those people that have 100,000 to 300,000, not just excluding them automatically. So I think we've kind of dialed in our form as it is, to try to appeal to the right audience. We just need to get a little bit better at getting those people to set appointments, because I think we should be at 65%. That's the goal that I have in mind.
65, that would be good, because then at that point everything's bolstered.
Right.
Up at bats are bolstered, and that means more production and you're helping more people. So I like that. We haven't written any business from this, but it was 2 weeks ago.
Right.
We have really good opportunities in the pipeline. But I will say the one that we did in August, which was the last episode in this series, we've closed 2 people out of that already. That wasn't even a month ago.
Right.
So we're definitely, the process is working, and we're starting to see these things just get knocked down.
Yeah, you shared a stat with the team last week, might have been Monday in the meeting. 5 of our 6 last sales they've just only done the 3-part process. They come to the seminar, they come to part 2, we close them in part 3. So really a 2 appointment close. And it's not like we're only ever going to go after the 2 appointment closes.
No.
But what that indicates to me is, hey, we're getting more confident in our ability to position the solutions that we're coming up with people, and they're listening to what we're saying and they're moving forward without dragging their feet and going into a third or a fourth or a fifth appointment. Where in the past, we had several that we did eventually close, but it took 6 meetings to get it done.
It took a lot, and to me, there are consumers that are just gonna behave that way. Right. And actually, I'm personally pretty bad about that. I'll take 10 opinions before I make a decision. I'm our worst client. I would be our worst nightmare. Yeah. So I know there's people out there like that, but in a lot of ways, if they get through the recommendations and they're not like committed, even verbally, it's something that you and I did. Right. Because all that means is there's still questions in their head. There's something like, these guys or this process, or I don't know what that is, or there's something there. So I think we've started to figure out like we're much stronger in the appointment process of educating them, showing them why, the confidence of why, and it's an easy yes.
Yeah, yeah. And this is something that George said to us. When somebody doesn't buy from you, it's not because your solution isn't good. It's because they don't trust you. Yeah. Or they don't like you. One of those two things.
They don't trust you, don't like you. It's one of those.
Right. And so I think our confidence has gone up, and our likability and our trustability has gone up. And it's all the little things that we talked about in the first 8 episodes that we've learned along the way, putting the team pictures in, putting the client pictures in, having the thank you cards, doing just all these little tiny things that it's never that one thing that makes you abundantly successful. It's all the little things that lead up to success. So I think that's true in this case for sure.
Absolutely. What are we calling this series again?
This is the seminar operations. So,
operations.
Yeah. We did make one change to our operations in the presentation though.
What was that?
I started talking about in the last episode. I talked about how I added in the information about an indexed annuity, talking about the standard deviation chart and things like that. I doubled down on that in this presentation, and I think it helped. One of the things I said, I talk about the alternative to the stock market, and right now, when we're recording this video and during the seminar, interest rates are incredibly high. So we started talking a little bit about people refinancing their retirement and taking advantage of the high interest rates that are available in today's environment. And so I just put right up on the screen. Some of the people that we're working with, not appropriate for everybody, but some of the people that we're working with are taking advantage of 7.25% guaranteed first-year interest on their retirement accounts. If that's something you'd be interested in, make sure you check the box. Right. And so it was just a little thing, but it was basically saying, hey, we can. There's a product that Richy and I have used frequently that has a guaranteed fixed interest rate of 7.25%, and
on the first year.
On the first year, and the way I position in the seminars, who wants 7.25% on their retirement? Everybody's hand goes up, right? Everybody's going to say yes to that if I can guarantee it. Well, it's not appropriate for everybody. Kind of take it away a little bit. It's not appropriate for everybody, but it's something that we'll consider. If it's appropriate for your portfolio, that's something we'll look at. So make sure you check the box on your blue sheet if you're interested in talking about market volatility and how we can potentially insulate your portfolio from some of those losses.
Yeah, and what have we talked about time and time again on the last series, the seminar replay, is setting yourself up for the recommendations appointment. So for us, part 1 seminar, part 2 analysis, part 3 recommendations. We want to show as much as we can get away with in part 1 that we're going to be going over in part 3. That way they're already familiar with it, they know what to accept. So by showing 725, or by showing the charts and the different graphs and things that we do, we're going to be showing all of that in part 3, and they're already used to it. Like they've already seen it, they're ready for it, it makes sense to them. So it's not so brand new where in that part 3 when we're describing, they're over, it's like fire hose and they're over inundated, they're already pretty familiar with it. Right. So when we describe it and put it into their numbers, man, they're excited about it, it makes sense to them.
Yeah. Last tip on this particular venue, before we wrap up here. Yeah. Always make sure you really understand your contract with the restaurant in terms of costs. So when we got the contract, looked through it, everything looked good. We assumed that we would be spending around $2,000, $2,500 total with food and beverage, tip, and tax. Richy had to leave right after the presentation ended on Thursday night. At a church thing.
Yeah, church night.
And I'm notorious for over-tipping. I'm notorious.
I have to stand over his shoulder and be like, what are you going to do there?
And so I get the bill, and server hands it to me, and it was $4,300. That did include tax and tip, but I was blown away because in a week, not less than a week, in a few days, we're going to be going to Prime 47, which is one of the nicest steakhouses in Indianapolis, to do a seminar. Yep. And our guarantee there is only $3,500. So I'm thinking in my head, holy smokes, this food was good, but it wasn't $4,500 good. And we had kind of had the disappointment of not as many people coming to dinner.
And this was just so convenient. Like if this works, we're right across the street.
Right.
You can't get any more convenient than this right here. So we just had high hopes, and then the bill came in, and it was, what was it? The total was $9,400.
Yep, on the day.
On the day, and our typical is $65,000 to $7,000.
Right.
On the day, so we're like $2,500 more than normal.
Right.
We're just like, crap. Less people showed up. I don't know. So it was a little bit of a.
Yep. If I had understood the contract better, I probably would have negotiated ahead of time. Because Richy and I are here, like you said, 2 or 3 times a week, and I feel like we have that leverage with the restaurant to be able to say, hey, let's make this a little bit more efficient for the way we do things. And in fact,
so what did we do? Exactly right.
That's exactly what we did. The next day came back, not the next day, but a couple days later. 2 days later.
We'll let it marinate a little bit in our.
We came back and ended up sitting down with the events manager and just saying, hey, not upset. Nobody in this room is upset. But
I loved it. Great service, great food, great venue, great room. All good.
When we do it again, and that was key, I think, not saying if. We said when we do this again, we got to figure out a better setup for us in terms of the food. And they're 100% happy to do that for us. They totally are into keeping us happy because they do recognize that we're here all the time.
They want to partner with us. We're a partner of theirs.
Yeah, and Richy let them know, hey, we do 20, 30 of these events a year. We'd love to do maybe 20 or 30% of those here just because of the convenience. And so that obviously is going to be, I think, a good setup, but we're just going to have to negotiate that and figure it out and maybe not pay for $28 cocktails the next time.
That's what I'm saying. I just don't think we'll have to see. We'll have to, we'll split test it. We'll do it this time and we won't the next time, see if anybody complains about it. But I just didn't think it moved the needle. But fantastic room here, good size, good venue, very convenient. We negotiated that bill down, so we learned our lessons.
Yep.
And we will write business out of this event, no doubt.
Right. And
actually, there was a guy at lunch who said, I have to write right now. Like I gotta invest this money, and I need you guys. And we met with him Monday, right after that Thursday appointment. That guy alone will satisfy the bill that we paid here.
Yep.
So everything else is ROI positive. So look at the positives. If you guys have an event and half the people show up, that's okay. Yeah. It's okay because the key is you've got 7, 8, 9, 10 events after this one that you're focused on. This one is not a make or break. This one's not the make or break. We talk to guys that are just getting started. Seasoned vets always don't care. Obviously, you want people to show up so you get the business, but it's I'm going to do one event a quarter guys that get really concerned when only 15 people show up. Where we're just like you guys, we just started, we just invested in ourselves, put a bet on ourselves, and said we're going to do this thing, and we're going to do it monthly, consistently. And I'm just encouraging you. That helps take the pressure off your shoulders a little bit because you have an event in 2 weeks. So if this one doesn't go perfect, get what you can out of it, write a piece of business, cover your costs, and then slay it in the next one 2 weeks later.
Yeah, and that's what's going to happen. We got one in 4 days.
I'm at Prime. That's the big Prime one.
That's the big Prime. That's a test too. We've never done it at a fancy steakhouse like that.
Right.
And we're going to see if that's worth it. Because we know that's going to be a more expensive venue.
Will it draw the right people? Will it draw people that just want to eat at Prime? We'll see.
Yeah, we'll find out. We will find out. But going forward, the seminar operations series, and we will definitely do a little bit on how Prime goes because we teased that so hard.
Yeah, we'll do a little replay.
Going forward, seminar operations is going to be a lot of fun though because we're going to bring in some guests. Crystal and Hannah are going to join us for at least one episode, maybe 2. Paul's going to come in.
3 or 4.
Yeah, let's get him in here.
Let's make it a couples therapy session.
We might need it.
Yeah,
might need it. But yeah, we're going to go through everything from how does Hannah do the confirmation calls? Because our confirmation numbers, our attendance numbers, other than FDR, have been in the 60s. That's better than just about everybody else that we work with, and I think it's because of Hannah.
Yeah.
Our appointment process, how Crystal follows through on that stuff, all the stuff that we've done with Calendly, all the stuff we've done with the presentation, all those little things. We're going to go into those details and the actual inner workings of the operations more so than just sharing stats and stories with you guys.
Even little things like that Paul does for us, takes a picture of the room and labels the faces so that we know what they're looking like when they come into our office. Just that tip alone is going to help you close business because now you're familiar with people coming in and you're not guessing. Little things like that we'll cover in this series. That's why it's going to be a fun one. The operations really.
If you haven't noticed, we're kind of structuring this like we do our sales process on the client side. The first 8 or 9 episodes were, hey, get to know us, learn our story. Now we're going to show you how to do it, and this is kind of part 2 of the podcast here, where now you're going to get to see all the inner workings and see how you can apply this to your business.
And hopefully we'll do some more field trips like this, because this was fun.
This was fun. And we both have cool shoes on today.
Oh, I'm taking these off, because you know what? These are special.
I'll let you go first. Those are special.
These are special. I don't even know why. I just love them. These are Jordan 4s, and they have the laser print on them. This is a 2005 shoe. It's the first time they put laser on a Jordan 4. Mm-hmm. And man, I got them for a great price off StockX. And I just love them. I love the 4s. It's my favorite Jordan. And anything that's really like unique like this. I have the anniversaries. Mm-hmm. They were from 2012, and they're blue. And I can never wear them because it's like a transparent blue and it gets dirty too easy, so I never wear them. So I can actually wear these, but man, I was pretty excited to get them.
Those are good. And if you guys follow me on LinkedIn, you'll be familiar with the shoes that I'm about to show you. Because if the whole marketing and financial advising thing doesn't work out, I should be a shoe designer, because I designed these shoes. These are Nike Dunks, premiums, and I picked everything that you see on this shoe. I picked from the color of the thread back here to the color of the thread up here, the color of the leather, the sole itself. I designed these shoes, and I think they're my favorite.
You've designed a few now, and those are my favorite that you've designed for sure.
These are solid. They're good everyday wearing shoes. They go with everything. They're really comfortable. This outfit that I'm wearing right now, this is exactly what I wore when we did our presentation. With
in here.
The Planwise shirt right here. Yeah.
I like that.
Little grayish blue with some blue jeans and my self-designed Dunks.
And we will wear jeans at our seminars, even at fancy restaurants, but this one we did, I think, kind of downplay it a little bit more.
Yeah, we got a little bit more casual.
Get a little more casual.
We are a brewery, after all.
So.
But, all right, man.
Well, cool. Well, great job.
Yeah, likewise.
I loved the replay. I'm going to love this one as well. This is good. Hopefully actionable content that you guys will pick up from, and we'll learn from you, learn from us.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Cool, thanks.